Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Growing Belleville Through Community Chats. I'm your co-host, Steven Selleck, along with Eric Huber. How are you, Eric?
Doing well, Stephen. We're back back in the summer months, right? 78 outside right now.
Beautiful December afternoon here. That is for sure. I'll take it, though. Any day it's above 70, I'm good. Well, anyway, we have Mr. Dave Schoenborn from the Lincoln Theater as our guest here today. How are you, Dave?
Great, and like you said, it's nice and sunny outside. Got my shorts on, doing great.
It is. I saw this. I saw the Lincoln Theater 100th anniversary T-shirt you got rocking as well too. So that's good to see.
That's right. Got that going on.
That's awesome. Well, again, that's kind of why we wanted to have you on. I know the Lincoln Theater has just been a staple of downtown Belleville for 100 years now, and it's just been something that everybody knows. It's kind of a little landmark. So, of course, we just want to first off just say congratulations on that 100th anniversary. That is an incredible feat for anybody to go through, and especially with you guys with all that occurred 18, 19 months ago or so, and still come through on the other side. It's, again, an awesome accomplishment.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, obviously, we weren't in charge of it for the whole 100 years, but it has been in our family for now basically over 40 years. So probably the longest caretakers, as we like to say, of the Lincoln.
Well, you've done a good job, and you know we had my agency. We were 100 years 2 years ago. 1919 was when we started, so we know the challenges, and just for anybody to go that long, again, just with different ownerships and different generations, it's not easy. There's some challenges at times, but to be able to get through it and continue is commendable.
Yeah. There's
so
lots
what
of
do you guys have planned? Yes, there are. I guess let's just start off. What do you guys kind of have planned to celebrate the 100th anniversary? I know you guys had a little shindig back in October, but of course, like you said, you're going to celebrate all year when we were talking last night. So what are you guys kind of doing?
Right. When you turn 100, you can celebrate for a whole year, and you're still feeling young about it. So we've got other events coming up. So we started off with a variety show, and then coming on at the beginning of the year, we've got some rock concerts coming up. We hope to have some classic people back, maybe some of the performers we had in the past, even though we just started doing concerts. So we're going to try and do a concert almost every month in our 100th year. We're going back to our roots of live performance, as I say. Things I'm trying to put together, and I don't have dates slotted for it yet, is you'll probably see a silent movie accompanied by the theater pipe organ, maybe another variety show. We host things here all the time that aren't necessarily part of our 100th, but dance schools come here. We do dance school performances. I've got 2 or 3 coming up in December for Christmas. But the main thing we're doing is we're, of course, showing our Hollywood movies, which post-pandemic there's few of those out and especially exclusive in the theater. So that's why we're taking advantage of this time and going back to live. We have different concerts kicking off in October. We had a Johnny Cash tribute. So we've already been doing a lot of concerts since we've kicked off our 100th in October of 2021. And I want to keep that going. You'll see some big names. We're getting ready next week to announce a very big name coming to Belleville in March. And we'll see all those announcements as they go out through the year.
No, that's awesome. I think, as me and Eric have talked a lot during these episodes, is the fact that people want to get back out and be in those social settings after the last 19 months is probably going to benefit you guys with those types of things, and especially just being close to home for everybody and having a good venue to go see a good concert is it's a double win for everybody.
One, since I built ourselves since 1921, the Lincoln's been considered the primary. In the 20s, it was the primary vaudeville house for Southern Illinois. It was the biggest one around. So any acts coming through this way would have played the Lincoln because it had over 1,200 seats in it in its original seating. Of course, vaudeville shows ran kind of continuously. We had newsreels, short movies with them going on, and it's just that you're right. People kept coming all the time. Right now in post-pandemic, in movie going, we're a very large facility. So even though we can have a good amount of people come to see a movie, you're not sitting next to each other. There's no reason to be elbow to elbow, etc. And concert goers do feel a little more comfortable coming out in crowds than movie goers. But again, being a big venue, being an old venue, the way our circulation in this building is a lot different than modern buildings where everything is a rooftop unit. My circulation kind of does a full circle from top to down, and so we're always sweeping out air and refreshing it, which I think in post-COVID world that we live in today is very important for people to understand. There's a lot of things that we're doing and things that we are trying to do to make people comfortable, to make sure we're a safe environment. Refreshing that air is one of those things.
Have you guys seen a pretty good demand or outcry, I guess, or outpouring, I guess, from the community with these events that you've been having since COVID or since the pandemic, I guess?
The events have been doing pretty well. Yeah, movies are bouncing back a little slower, but the events have been doing very well and have a lot of community and support from the fans of the people with the events. I think so. And you were talking about, I don't know how much, how things have changed, right? Especially over 100 years. We've had the live performers come in. Ginger Rogers performed here, the Marx Brothers, short movies, talkies came out. We did talkies. The building was changed again to make it a huge CinemaScope. And then when my father-in-law and mother-in-law purchased the building in 80, they ripped out some of those changes and brought back the stage and the drapes. So when the movie starts, the lights go down, the drapes go up. It's an experience. Post-COVID, we haven't been able to experience that grand start to a movie because during COVID, our main drape ripped. It ripped it with a big 10-foot section fell out of it. And I'm going to try and maybe start a fundraiser to help replace the big red drape at the Lincoln, because that's $6,000 to $10,000 of drapery now that has to be replaced. So because I do want for that movie experience, not just the live, but the lights to go down, the curtains goes up, even on the weekend when we have the live organist, it's the same thing. He's playing and all of a sudden the curtain rises and he lowers, and that's the start of the film presentation.
Dave, I was gonna ask, the concerts you got going on, which is awesome, I think, and kind of back to your roots as you mentioned. With COVID, moviegoers coming back a little slower than maybe anticipated. Is that part of the continued vision in the future for the Lincoln? Maybe more concerts, a little variety. I mean, you have obviously the Disney Plus is out there, all the movie different streaming devices. Do you see kind of the live concerts becoming a little more present at the Lincoln in the future?
I think in our particular venue and our setting downtown, I do think we'll keep up with this theme of more live events, because a live event is something you can only experience then. It's not a movie you can watch and replay other times. The other thing that you find with our live event is we only have 500 seats. When I say only, when you go to other venues in St. Louis, those seats are, their seat count is much higher, or they don't have seats and it's standing room. So if you want to come, when you came here and saw, Jody Messina, you were no more than 50 feet away from her. What's that? The VIP section at most St. Louis theaters where you're paying hundreds of dollars a ticket. Right. Yet here, a normal ticket, your back row is only about 55 feet away. So, and that allows the performers to interact different. They're going to interact here. Yeah, when they're in a huge venue, they can talk to the audience, but the audience can't talk back. Where when you're in a venue like this, the performers can talk to you. They'll call out to the person in the 10th row, and they'll have a little discussion, a back and forth discussion, not just a, hi, how are you? I see you out there, great hat, etc. So it's a much different experience, and then they can set their music up to, either tell that story about, that song, not just go out and sing it. It's like, here's the story behind this, and maybe they start relating to somebody in the audience with that and going on. So it's very cool. They have the opportunity to do that. Jody Messina was great at doing that here. Winona was great at doing that. And her husband, her backup band, he could tell the story about his antique drum set, and how he loved it and how he took care of it. Things like that you don't get in bigger venues. And you can walk up to the front at the end of the concert and then get a glimpse of that, because it's only 15 feet away from the stage rail where you're at. So much more interesting and a different experience. And the performers are liking that. We're getting feedback. There's more and more performers out there who want to come back to smaller venues, their roots. Maybe post-COVID, it helps them feeling safer. An audience of 500 is a lot less than an audience of 10,000 in an enclosed space, et cetera. So I think that hopefully that all those conditions, play into it and allow us to bring these bigger names back to Belleville. When you look at Belleville's history, not necessarily the Lincolns, but Belleville's history, a lot of huge names, music names used to play because they played small towns and they played in Belleville. So why can't we get them again? Right. Not just older acts, but the newer acts out there touring too. Some have been coming.
Yeah, I think you make a great point there. I wanted to say, that it makes it an intimate experience, right? And it's something that there's nothing against the large venues in St. Louis or anywhere for that matter, but it's a completely different experience when you're doing something a little more intimate and you feel like you're more into it, and it's a little one-on-one, I guess, if you will, as opposed to a larger venue. But it's in my opinion, I prefer the more intimate small venues, and there's not that many over in the St. Louis area. So to have something like that in your own backyard, to be able to have that intimate experience, and a short drive home when you're done as well too, is always an incentive and a plus.
Right, because you get the really small venues and you have the much larger ones, and we're kind of filling that gap in the middle, where it's enough seats that we can sell enough tickets to attract somebody who's charging pretty good dollar amounts, to come, that they wouldn't fit in the smaller venue. The bigger venue may or may not want them, and they may rather to prefer
right.
to come here to that little more intimate venue because, hey, we're Belleville, we can take care of them. We can help them. We help their needs. There's one thing you think about the green rooms, that they talk about where the artist has to have all this stuff. The artist doesn't. Some of that stuff's in that contract, but they just want it to be treated like a person. They want to be able to relax. They want to be able to get a snack. That's all they want. And when you take care of them, just like the people of Belleville take care of the artists at Art on the Square, when you take care of the performer artists that come here and you do your best to you make sure that all their needs are met, they want to come back, right?
Yeah, I agree, and that's important. And they all talk too, right? So they all, not all, but majority, they run in the inner circles. They know each other, and they have a good positive experience. They relay that, though.
And their tech people know each other, which is even more. With the tech people,
right.
we moved in there. Yeah, it's a small old place, but they're like, it's a small old place. They made it easy for us to move our stuff in, get plugged up, get going. That's what they care about. Yeah.
Right. Well, I want to go back. You were talking about the curtain, and that sparked a memory, I guess, of mine. First memories I have of the Lincoln Theater was back when I was in grade school, back in I guess probably the late 80s, early 90s, and we would have the summer pass for the Lincoln every Saturday morning, I guess it was, and we'd go, and it was just an experience. I'm sure my parents loved it because they could get the kids out of the house for a couple hours and do what they needed, but it was a great experience, and just especially there was always the pre-movie entertainment that would be fun, and man, me and my brothers and all of our friends, we just had great memories of that as a kids growing up. And I think a lot of people in Belleville kind of have similar stories or memories of Lincoln Theater.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, those were fun times. And in fact, near the end of when that was happening is when I started to get more involved in the family business, and that was fun. You're right. And the kids, if you got picked to come up on stage to play a game, I mean,
yes.
Wasn't that awesome? And we had secret vending machines.
That's what everybody really wanted. Yes. Oh, yeah.
We had the secret nickel vending machine that you had to go behind the curtain to get to, and you know it wasn't really advertised. It was there, but kids knew. And somebody said, "Well, what are you doing over there?" "I'm getting this really cheap candy." And so
yeah, no, it was an awesome, it was an awesome time.
Mm-hmm. And then we've
David,
always been known for our popcorn.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was just going to touch on a little bit too, like the building, being there for 100 years. Obviously, the building. You mentioned the green room. You guys had a real nice article in Belleville News Democrat that I read and online. I think you guys shared a lot of the pictures. What's your coolest, what's your coolest room that you like there at the Lincoln? The oldest room that probably could tell a million stories if it could.
Well, probably the stage dressing rooms, because for some reason when they built the Lincoln, we're designed like vaudeville theater, just like the Fox. And if you've ever gone on a Fox tour, there's dressing rooms that go up the side of the stage. We have the infrastructure for those dressing rooms, but they never put them in. So anyone who ever performed had to go to the dressing rooms in the basement. So you're just saying, hey, the Marx Brothers stood in the same room, touched the same walls. It's the same walls. I don't know if you saw in some of those pictures. For the 100th, I gave the photographer a lot more access probably than we've given anyone to the building. But the walls in the basement are stamped Acme. They're made out of huge Acme concrete bricks, and more. They got the word Acme on them, so it feels like you're in a cartoon even when you're walking through that, right? But some of the things, even here in our office complex, people don't realize. When the building was built, the second floor offices, which sit below the balcony, they were open to the public. There was a dentist, a real estate agent. There was a whole string of offices up here besides the theater management offices. The box office was inside the building, not outside, and you bought your ticket just before you went through the big 4 set of doors. So if you went up the other staircase, that's how you got to the dentist office and the other areas, etc. And remember, when the theater was built, there was no concession. Because people come in the building and the floor slopes at the concession, just slightly. That's because the seating went back there. They didn't build theaters in 20s with concessions. You bought your ticket, you went through that door. Maybe there was a drape to help keep the light out, after you went up the balcony steps, after you passed them. But other than that, the seating started right away. So that's... one of the interesting things is the crawl space above the ceilings, where you can see the old wood that was holding up the concaved ceiling. So the original ceiling in the lobby wasn't flat. It had arch supports in it, and it was rounded. Some of the other fun things, if you saw that article, the pictures we had, they used to decorate the front of the building. I mean, did you see that? Every movie, they had like a whole build-out facade that they made about that movie. And because that movie didn't play there for a week, it played there for quite some time because movies moved around. This was the time this movie was in your city. Maybe your relatives told you about it a month ago when it was in their city. It was a big deal because now it's finally came to your city, this movie. Movies didn't open everywhere in the country on the same day at the same time in those days.
Right.
They, so many prints and they moved around. But as far as
the world of how they were produced.
It was. And as far as one place in this building that has history, there's all those fun places, right? The office level's fun. The dressing rooms are fun. The stage is fun. For me, I like being on a working stage. So, yeah.
So I guess, what kind of things do you have coming up? I know you guys have on New Year's Eve, you got Old Salt Union coming in. What are some of the other shows you got kind of in the works, or to what you can,
I guess,
release?
Old Salt is one of the fun things because it's a New Year's Eve show. We're doing a full New Year's Eve celebration with them. Those guys put on a great show. It's going to be hours of just really fun music. They've sold out every time they come to the Lincoln in the past. And they just have a great time. Their audience is a great audience, and they bring a lot of local, but they bring a lot of draw in from the surrounding cities, St. Louis, Missouri, etc. So that's good. Coming up on January 15th, we have the Sponge coming in, a great band from the 90s. They're coming in, and we've actually some of the opening acts. They have multiple opening acts. It's like a whole evening of music coming in January. And on February 5th, we have the Nixons coming out. And on March 21st, we have a very major person coming that we can't announce until next week.
Okay.
So we're just working on that deal.
Okay. What date next week are you releasing that?
I think I'm allowed to release it on the 7th. So if we have all the I's dotted and T's crossed, we might be releasing that on the 7th, and ticket sales will start before Christmas, so you can get your tickets in, as Christmas presents, and get your spot reserved. Because this is one of those people who hits a very small venue for this person, so he sells out much larger venues all the time.
You're leaving some little hints in there. I like it. Now, so the 7th is next Tuesday, which is when this episode drops. So you can announce it now, and we can everybody will be out there. Just go ahead.
It might be. I don't know. There's those things. His management wants money, checks, deposits and paid, etc.
I get. Oh yeah. Those gotta go. I get that. I was
gonna say, if we have to sign
maybe
sometime
at the end of this episode, we'll drop a name.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good. Again, you were talking about the popcorn. I want to go back to that. Of course, I mean, my parents, I always remember going to the movies with them, and that was one of their big draws, because, of course, we'd be dragging them to probably see some kid movie that they really had no desire to see, but, at least they were able to get their popcorn. Kind of tell me, a little bit about, the, I don't know, I don't want to say secret ingredient, I guess, but kind of what's in the, what makes it so special.
We make our theater popcorn with love. That's what I tell everybody, right? We make it the old-fashioned way. So I think that's the key. It's not microwave popcorn you can get at home. It's the temperatures that we cook it at. The coconut oils that we use, etc. It's that whole process puts out a great popcorn. And then because of that, that's our theater popcorn. And people for years just come up and get popcorn. Even before COVID, people always would just drive up and buy some popcorn and take home that night. So even though we might have done hundreds of people come into the movies, we still had a to-go business, going on. Every weekend we were selling some amount of popcorn to go. So about 2011, Sandy and I decided that we should expand on that idea. And as we were remodeling other aspects of the lobby, we put in the gourmet popcorn shop, because we're like, well, everyone comes here for our theater popcorn. What if we really made fancy popcorn? So that's how we got into the gourmet. With the help of some of our friends in the business, we took a caramel recipe that they had developed for a popcorn shop that was no longer in business, and we tweaked it to adapt it for our tastes and flavors that we like here. And that was born our caramel recipe, which is a scratch-made recipe that we make here. So the theater popcorn's pretty easy. It's just, the method that we do it. We make sure we use quality ingredients. We take that same quality and put it into making our caramel corn, using real vanillas, real butter, things like that to make that caramel corn, open up at the end with a big buttery taste as you chew it, nice and crunchy. And our caramel corn is cooked. When you get it, when you buy that bag, it's heavy because we've cooked the candy onto it. It does have that buttery taste, not a brown finish taste, and it's a big taste in your mouth, and it's crunchy. And good caramel corn does not stick to your teeth. So you shouldn't be, chewing it like gum. A good caramel corn just cracks in your mouth. Yeah. Well, in the same way we did with our cheeses, we buy quality cheese, use real cheese paste, so.
Was that a big factor for you guys was that a big factor for you guys, or a big help getting through COVID when everything kind of shut down? I mean, you guys, along with restaurants, got hit the worst, I always think. And how was that, and kind of your guys' mentality to get through it?
Well, yeah, that was the only thing that we were selling, because like you said, we were shut down from March of 20 to basically May of 21. Now, the popcorn shop we had opened up back in the summer, that we could at least start producing and selling through our front door, et cetera, to eventually last Christmas, we could allow some people in the shop. Over COVID, we developed a website with shipping, so we can now do shipping. We've developed some gift boxes. We've morphed that business into one where we can sell and we can ship it across the country. And I think because of that, we've attracted new things this year. So even this year, more people are out, more people are coming into the popcorn shop, but we've also got more people doing ordering things for their businesses. We've gotten some large business orders. We've developed at the beginning of 21, when the theater was still closed, I've got some retail outlets now selling our popcorn. So we're doing wholesale to some bigger retail outlets, and I want to expand on that going into 22. And that has attracted one thing attracts other opportunities as we're doing that to deal with trying to survive COVID. Just trying to sell the popcorn. It's not, you're not really making money on that, but you have to pay the electric and the heat bill still in the building, right? So that attracted people to us. And one of the things that attracted is I have sitting over here, this is an advent calendar, a Christmas calendar with 24 squares of all unique items made in Illinois, mostly food, and we were selected to be one of the items in that calendar this year. It's the first year they did Illinois.
Cool.
So that's over 4,000 calendars
they produced.
Awesome. And those are going all over the country. So hopefully it was successful and
That's
they like
cool.
our popcorn. As I don't know what day we're on. I do have a calendar. We haven't hit our day yet. But when you find our day, hopefully that generates more people on our website, more inquiries, etc. So, and a big change.
So I'm assuming it shows who it is.
Oh yeah, when you open it up, it's a little bag and it has our Abe sticker with website and phone number and everything on it. It's a nice sample of our caramel corn, so nice and simple, a candied corn. So it's, will still be really fresh when you opened it. But one of the other things we did, people talk about local. Well, that's local. We make it here, right? It's all made right here in the building. One of the changes we did this year as we were going through the years, we now source our popcorn kernels from a farm just outside of Belleville. You can see the silos from Eckert's. So they're that close to us, and we're sourcing all our theater and our gourmet popcorn. It's Ellie and Ollie popcorn, and they grow right here just outside Belleville. And so our popcorn is grown right here in Belleville. We make it, we caramelize it, we cheese it, whatever, we pop it. So all the popcorn you're getting in our building now was grown just outside Belleville and consumed here. So you can't get much local and support much more local than that.
No, I love that. I love that. Keeping it, bringing as many people in this area involved as possible. How were the events downtown this past fall with Art on the Square, Oktoberfest, Chili Cook-Off? How were those for you guys, at least in regards to the popcorn aspect?
Pretty good. It's hard for us to keep up an employee count, and so a lot of those events we try and do sampling and do more things on the street. So we were on the street doing that. They certainly do help our popcorn sales, but you got to get out in front of people doing that, and we're having employee problems like everybody else, getting enough in to do that and handle those events. Next year, I hope will be better because all the events aren't going to happen in 4 weeks. Along with other merchants down here, it was nice to have those events again, but they were every week, right? So they were at the same time. It's like we need a weekend to breathe to recover our stock. Yeah, another hard thing. If we're selling that much popcorn, we need to make it, right? We don't have this made up in advance. Right. We're making popcorn every day. I think right now at Christmas, we're going through 60 to 80 pounds of kernels, just popping at least 60 pounds a day, just turning into gourmet popcorn. So that's a lot of pop kernels when you see that. That's a huge amount for a little place.
It is.
And just a few employees.
Right. It's a good problem to have, though, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. It's they're good problems to have. If we had more employees, that would help. But yeah,
I hear you. It's a tough time right now. Well, hey, look, we're coming up on 30 minutes here. We're going to be respectful of your time. Really appreciate you hopping on. Is there anything you'd like to drop or places people can find for the website for the popcorn or the website for Lincoln Theater? Just any way people can get in touch with you or make their orders if they want?
Sure, it's lincolntheater-belleville.com. There should be a banner at the top that says special events. Our homepage has everything that's scheduled on it, so just scroll down. And everything that has a ticket for sale already is listed on that homepage. Upcoming events will be posted, but even in more detail on our special event page. There's some other good things coming up. Oh, I forgot to mention our Christmas event because I'm not producing it, but the Belleville Philharmonic and Chorus will be doing a Christmas Pops concert here on December 19th. And before that, you want to show up early because the great Bob Heil is going to be showing his skills on the Mighty Theater pipe organ before as walk-in music to that event. So we hope a lot of people come to that. Another great event that's only happening once, and all these people live in Belleville putting on this show. So it's another great event. So come to that. That's lincolntheater-belleville.com. You can buy tickets for the pop concert too. Our New Year's Eve show is going to be great. And our guest in March should be the marvelous Colin Hayes from Men at Work is who we're coming in March. And then the popcorn shop is abesgourmetpopcorn.com, or just come down and see us at the Christmas market or at our shop. So,
well, look at that.
And then you can get these beautiful 100-year anniversary T-shirts. Yeah, these T-shirts are available too.
I do.
There's links to them on the website.
I do like those.
You can buy them in person or have them shipped. That's right. Ship them to your family across the country. Everyone needs to be sporting one.
Yes,
you know, if we sell
I have a
enough
brother
of
in
these,
Chicago from here, so he needs to. Right.
He needs to, yeah.
Well, good. Well, hey, again, we appreciate your time. Yes, he does, up in Chicago for sure. But again, like I said, we want to be respectful of your time. A little over 30 minutes here. So again, we appreciate you hopping on. Everybody go to the websites, go to check out the events they have, and of course stop by and get some popcorn. So Dave, we appreciate you hopping on with us.
And a T-shirt.
Right, and a T-shirt.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us and recognizing our 100th anniversary.
Absolutely. Great accomplishment. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.